Good morning and welcome. It's March 2nd, 2025, and I give out a warm welcome to all of you that have found me on Facebook. We're here to fight CPS, and I'm your host, Bob Pace. Now, I'm on twice a day, 7 days a week, to talk about fighting CPS and to hang on to your children. Your family is very, very important, and I want to help you because I had a tremendous fight and a battle against CPS to get my family back together. It's very, very sad the way it goes about. And it's not from lack of being educated or lack of finances or lack of a lot of variables that seem to affect. CPS will catch people off guard. It's a government entity that in many areas of the United States and the world, they've turned rogue. And what I mean by that is that they discovered the importance of money. It's $1 trillion business. And it's affected the way that the CPS, and what I mean by CPS, I mean the child protection systems that have organized entities have gone down to how they're protecting our children. Now, government mandated that the child protection systems in every state, every county, every place in the world should protect our children from neglect and abuse. But apparently, some entities have gone rogue, meaning that they have suddenly discovered that money is more important than it is to keep the family together or to put the family back together. And I know it must be hard for you because it sprung me on a very horrible surprise when it did happen. It's early Sunday morning. I'm on 7 days a week, twice a day. I've been doing these live streams since October 2023. It's over 17 months, and I've talked to over 1,000 people in all walks of life. They all have a common thing. They're going through hard times. A loss of a job, a loss of a home, maybe a loss of a loved one, or they're going through a horrible thing called divorce. And the kids are suddenly put through this terrible experience of a government entity that is not really supposed to do what they're supposed to do. They're supposed to protect our children from abuse and neglect. And they are supposed to do family reunification if it needs to break the family apart. Now, I'm not an attorney. I'm a loving father and a husband. I've helped raise 6 children. And I will honestly say that all 6 children are doing okay. Some of them are raised in other families. I have 3 older children and 3 younger children, 3 boys and 3 girls. So my youngest are 19, 22, and 25. And at the time of my involvement in CPS, they were 9, 12, and 15. And this was happening to me, supposedly what they call the golden years. I don't know what that is. I know my mom and dad enjoyed it. My dad retired and lived with my mom in a beautiful place called Santa Barbara. And they'd go out fishing and do things together. They were a very loving couple. That I do remember my mom and dad. And my dad was a military man, rose through the ranks, fought in 3 wars, and he was a dad that you could love. But no one taught me about CPS or who is CPS or what is CPS. And in my case, it was a horrible experience. It was a horrible, horrible experience. Now, this live stream that happens every day, twice a day, comes on on the weekends at 8 a.m. and again at night at 7 p.m. Those are West Coast times in California. It's the Pacific Standard Time. Now, during the weekdays, it's on at 10 o'clock in the morning, Pacific Standard Time, and 7 p.m. in the evening, Pacific Standard Time. Now, the times may move depending on family events, but I've not missed a show yet. And I'm here because I want to share with you. I want to help you to avoid, excuse me, the pitfalls or the mistakes that I had done. And it's sometimes very difficult and hard to talk about CPS. A lot of you have gone through so much pain and suffering, and it's wrong. And some of you have become part of my family here on this live stream. There's about 50 of you that come in regularly that have followed my live stream, that have participated and helped me to help others. I provide information that I've found in my 15 years of fighting CPS. And all this happened to me later in life. It happened to what's called your golden years. And it all starts back when I lost my job after working for 45 years. Through no fault of my own, at age 60, I had to close my doors because it's something I had no control over. And at that age, it is a very difficult time to find work. For some reason, people think dinosaurs can't work. I don't know. We have a president right now that is engaging every day with the public, that's engaging. His administration is so everywhere. And I think they eventually will get to the corruptness of CPS. And I say that, not this badmouth CPS, but to say that there are rogue entities out there that have let money overtake in their responsibilities to protect not only the children from neglect and abuse, but to maintain families together, because it's proven that the best parents are the biological parents. Time and time again, it's been proven that the best parents are the biological parents. And with that in mind, they must protect their children from abuse and neglect because it goes on. There's 1,000 cases a day unreported. Now, this is not only a problem in the United States, it's a worldwide problem. I have over 21 countries that have contacted this live stream from their part of the world to share the horrors of their CPS experience. I've heard from Indonesia, Bangladesh, India, and then in the Middle East from Libya, and then Saudi Arabia, then down to the continent of Africa. I've heard from Liberia to Sudan to Rwanda to Mozambique to several provinces in South Africa. Then up to Europe, I've heard from England, Scotland, and Wales, Denmark, and Sweden. Then across the pond, I've heard from North America and 4 provinces in Canada. I've heard from all 50 states of the U.S. and District of Columbia. South of the border, I've heard from Mexico. And then down in South America, I've heard from Grenada. Then across the South Pacific, I've heard from New Zealand. And lastly, the land down under, 2 states in Australia. All of them, including all of you in the United States, have shared a tragic problem with them because they seem to not listen or follow their own rules. They seem to focus on the money issue and how to get the child trafficked into foster care, which a lot of the foster care programs are bad. They're very abusive. They're very, very abusive. Now, this is a hard subject to talk about. As you know, a coin has 2 sides, but there are actually 3 sides to every story. There's 3 sides to every story. There's one side with one person of the coin, and then the other side, the heads and the tails of a coin. One person says it this way, another person says it this way. The third side is what actually happened. And that's the hard part to prove or to show, is the third side. We all have opinions. We all are frustrated with the outcome of things. And one of the things that seems to strike us the most is our family. God provided us a family. No matter what race you're from, no matter what tribe you're from, or what's your background, all of you believe in God, or a maker, or a creator. Few people don't believe, and those few are lost. And they're a minority. But for the sake of the show, we all believe in a God because that gives us strength. When God created Adam and Eve to start life and to create children and to create a family, it's so that the family would grow and that children would have somebody to help them grow in a positive way. That's why we believe so much in family. And all of you that have texted in here or called me live on this live stream love a family, love the idea of a family. Some of us may not know how to raise children. We're not born with a manual about raising child or doing life skills. There's so many life skills. And that's one thing I want to emphasize, life skills. Life skills should be ongoing forever. And in the education process, whether you're at the preppy K or preschool, let's say you're in preschool and preppy K and kindergarten, and then grades 1 through 5, because now we have middle, which is grades 6, 7, and 8th. And then high school is 9th through 12th. And then college there are. There should be every year or every semester where a life skill taken, whether it's about how to combat bullying or grooming standards, or how to date, or how to marry, or how to do divorce, or how to balance your checkbook. Those kinds of life skills are important. And I have had a lot of experience in talking about life skills. There's a lot of areas I could talk about. I could talk to you about the area of surfing, or sailing, or diving, scuba diving. Or I could talk to you about sports, playing football, soccer, baseball, rugby. Or things like cooking, or do yourself repairs. There are a lot of life skills, things about how to balance your checkbook, how to do a budget, how to do your taxes. One of the life skills should be how to deal with child protection systems. That's something that should be presented. And it should be presented at the time you reach high school, because that's the time when you're socially dating a lot. And some of you will get married right out of high school, or sometimes in high school. But when you get married, you want to have a family, but you never know about this entity called the Child Protection System. This CPS system can be very dangerous and corrupt to families. And I'm really hesitant about saying that. I'm not saying all CPS is like that. Now, this live stream is supposed to be interactive. I do talk, but if someone would like to text me a message about a comment or a question, please do so. All I ask is show your first name, your city, your county, or the country, the state, and the country you're from. I welcome everybody who's been involved in CPS. It's a troubled time when they come knocking at your door, or by mistake you surrendered your children, or you open your door to them by mistake. There are things you need to know what you could do and not do. And I want to help you with things that I have learned after 15 years of fighting CPS. Now, I work for an attorney. He created this podcast for me to help you guys fight CPS. He does have a law practice. His area's expertise is the fighting CPS and bringing families back together. He is a licensed professional attorney in the areas of juvenile law, family law, and dependency law. He has fought CPS for 39 years. He once was a foster kid himself. His name is Vincent W. Davis, and you can research the internet and find him on a lot of live streams. He has lots of live streams. He's done radio shows. He's been a guest, and he has fought heavily and got families back. He's one of the best attorneys in the country. He's a trial attorney. He can do trials. Not only that, when your case is closed, he's done civil lawsuits, both in state and federal, and won millions of dollars for his clients. He would like to represent you. And that's something that you got to find. And that's one of my rules is get an attorney. To get an attorney. Now, I do this live stream primary. Oh, great. We got a call here. Huh. Good morning and welcome.
Hi, Bob. How are you?
Pretty good. And who do I have the pleasure of talking to?
Kimberly from Illinois. I sent you that audio and pictures.
Right. I remember you, Kimberly. And good morning and welcome.
Good morning. Did you get a chance to listen to that audio?
I'm sorry, what?
Did you get a chance to listen to the audio recording?
I saw the pictures.
So the baby came into a visit with me, a supervised visit, anyways. And she said he was sick, and he supposedly been sick for 3 weeks, and he was holding his neck up. It was really dramatic neck injury, and I was asking him what was wrong with his neck, and he just basically said that Mason did it. He put something around his neck, and it hurt him.
Now, my question to you: Have you reported it? Have you called 911?
I did. I reported it to the police. Yes.
And what did the police do about this neck that's hurting?
I don't know. They said they made a report, but he was screaming in the background. And he was being kind of crazy, the foster mom. But this is not the first time. There's several documentations, but just recently I'm doing a writ, a manimus, whatever it's called, for, I'm trying to ask the appellate court, to take a look at the violation of due process, deprivation of rights, and the biased statements by the judge on the record. And so before he enters another final decision. So it's kind of like hoping I get away with the filing the appeal before the final decision is made, because he intentionally withheld the final decision. And, there's violations of rights and due process leading up to this, and it's looking like it's going to continue because I filed a motion for insufficient counsel since I haven't seen my discovery in 2 years yet, and I haven't been able to enter one witness, one piece of paper, documents, or anything, and I'm never made aware of any of the proceedings that are happening. I'm just told it's a status hearing when it's actually a petition for custody, or so there's major issues, and I have a right to notice. I have a right to be heard. I have a right to my discovery. I have a right to enter in witnesses and documentations. And I brought this to the judge's attention as to why I'm having insufficient counsel here. And he said he would set a court date, but he didn't actually give a court date. So I filed a motion. He didn't respond to that motion. So we go into court because I was not going to go forward with the placement, the decision on placement, if he's not going to address my insufficient counsel and allow me the due process right to enter in documents and witnesses on my behalf. And so he was, obviously going to go forward with that placement hearing. And so I filed an appeal, and I was doing some research, and writs are really complicated. But I think I'm starting to figure it out. It's a writ of manimus. It's basically going to stop this trial proceeding and give the appellate court the time to investigate into what's going on here, because you can't go forward. It's kind of like if an attorney, I think of it like this. I think if an attorney withdraws, you have to stop proceedings and allow them to get sufficient counsel by due process law. So why would it be any different for me motioning for insufficient counsel? The proceeding to make a decision should stop We should address the insufficient counsel and then go forward, the issues at hand. Because a judge can't honestly make a fair, unbiased decision if I'm not given the opportunity and the right to submit anything or argument or evidence or witnesses or anything on my behalf.
Now, so Kimberly, can you refresh my memory? What is this child related to you?
So I have 4 children that were taken into custody.
I'm focusing on the first one that you sent me a picture of. Is that one of the 4 children?
Yeah, he's the only one still in foster care with the same foster parents that were verbally and mentally abusive, according to my daughter when she stayed there in the forensic child interview.
Now, these other 3 children, where are they at the moment?
So one of them is not biological to my ex. He was convicted of strangling me and beating me on multiple occasions. He's got caught drinking and driving with the children before, no car seats when they were really, really little. The Arkansas where he lives in that state deemed him dangerous and unfit, and he was to not be alone with the children. But he comes in.
Are you still married to him? Kimberly, are you still married to them?
I never married him. Okay. I never married him. No.
So you have 3 children with him? So you had 3 children with him? Well, you had 2 with them.
I only had 2 with him.
So are there different fathers for the other 4? Okay. You have 4 children. 2.
I had 1 child with my deceased husband and then I had 2 with him. And then I had 1 with my now recent ex-husband.
Okay.
But so he got custody of a non-biological child when he was testing positive for drugs and alcohol and had warrants for his arrest. And he abandoned his own children by his own admission too on the stand. So there was no actual legal ground for in lieu of over the non-biological child, and that was established. And that child was not supposed to be receiving visitations from him anymore. But yet he was already down in Arkansas without anybody informing me. Another violation of due process. My kids have been down in Arkansas for months without me knowing. And I have court-ordered visits that are not happening.
Now, did your children get moved? Did your children get moved from Illinois to Arkansas? Did you use the ICPC, the interstate placement?
Yeah, that came back denied. They said they would never approve him to have custody in their state.
Then how did he get custody?
That's what I'm saying to you. See, they were moved down there without an interstate even being done. And then when it did get done, it came back completely denied. It was never going to be approved. And it's a non-biological child that he has no legal rights to. And this man has an extensive, violent rap sheet. He currently had warrants for his arrest. And he currently was tested positive when he got custody of them.
Now, this was all done in Illinois?
Yes. And so 3 of them are down in Arkansas, and 1 is still in foster care that, as you can tell from the documentation I sent you, is crying out for help. He's being abused.
How old are the 3 in Arkansas?
11, 12, and 10.
Now, are they with different people, or are they all together as a family?
Oh. They're together with my ex, the violent one.
Okay, so your ex has somehow got possession of them. Have you looked at the court documents to see how he got possession of them? Was that a court ordered, done in court?
The judge just gave him custody. Like I said, it was violations of due process, rights, and liberties. That's
well,
not his child.
I understand that. What I'm trying to understand, was that done in CPS court or was that done in divorce court?
Yeah. CPS court.
Okay, so there's some allegations that are made, and the allegations were against you, not against him.
No, they were against my husband who hurt the oldest child.
Then why did the court give him custody if he's already been accused of hurting other children?
2 different guys. You're getting them mixed up.
Yeah, I know.
I was married to him.
I know it's hard because you have 3 different fathers, and you have 4 children. So if I ask it confusing, it is confusing. But have you been trying to fight all this with a professional attorney, or are you using a court-appointed attorney?
Well, no, I have an appointed attorney, and he's not doing anything. So, I'm, filing appeals, trying to get the appellate court to stop all proceedings, look at the deprivation and violations of due process and rights, because I know that it's very serious. I can't.
Well, are you at a pro se, or do you still have the court-appointed attorneys?
2 years.
Yeah, excuse me. Are you pro se, or are you still using the court? Have you fired the court-appointed attorneys?
No, I'm hiring Mr. Davis.
Okay, I understand you're hiring, but you need to fire the court-appointed attorneys, because you, as a person, if you're going to pro se it, you got to be.
They denied my right to pro se.
Well, because you still have a court-appointed attorney.
Yeah, they denied my right to pro se.
Well, that's because you have a court-appointed attorney.
No, I asked to pro se. I tried to fire my attorney. I'm telling you that.
Well, there's a way you have to fire them. It's really sad, but CPS manipulates the attorneys. You have to go to the office within that court where they have the public defenders, and you have to tell them that you no longer want to use them. You also have to tell that in court to the judge. Before you can do anything on your behalf, you have to do that. If you want to be pro se, you have to have those attorneys relieved.
I don't want to be pro se, actually.
I know you don't want to, but the problem is the pro se attorney are not helping you. Either you replace them, or you tell them that if you do not defend me and do not fight for my case, then I will, sue you.
I told them that.
Yeah.
And I filed a complaint with the licensing board for attorneys.
For the state, you did it at the state level?
The attorney disciplinary and licensing board, yeah.
Okay. So you've done that proper thing too. But it's so important that you get Mr. Davis aboard. Now, have you talked to Mr. Davis yet?
Yeah, I've talked to him.
And how did that session go with Mr. Davis?
Doing pretty good. I just got to make sure he's got room or, time to do all this. But I'm hoping to talk to him the next couple weeks. I don't know. They're arresting my criminal misdemeanor for endangerment child endangerment, which by definition, that's knowingly putting your child in a dangerous situation or failing to protect. But, me calling 911, giving them the video footage.
Yeah.
That's the act of protecting the child. You don't have the charge. So I just got done drafting a motion to dismiss because they're not meeting the standard here.
Are you talking about criminal court? Are you talking about criminal court?
They feel like I could have physically assaulted my husband, who's like 300 pounds, in a blackout race. And I got a baby right there. I got 2 other children right there. Like, it's not going to do me any good to go in there, get beat up. It wouldn't have done anything but made it worse. And in truth, we all know that that's definitely how you would endanger the life and the welfare of your children, by engaging into a physical altercation with them there. Why did you
not get a restraining order?
I did. They gave him everything, by the way.
Well, wait a minute. If you get a restraining order, did you not go to court about that?
Yeah, I did, but they gave him everything. Like, he ran me out of my house. His brother admitted on the stand to breaking into the house, to stalking me. I had him on video stalking me, changing the locks on the home that the order of protection gave me. They did nothing to protect me, and they just, it's just really wild what I have been through. It's insane. He got to turn off my phone, my insurance. He did everything. He took everything from me because I couldn't afford my attorney. I didn't get alimony when I should have. I should have got my legal fees paid because, if any case where the spouse should be paying legal fees, be the one where the husband assaulted the child, and that's why we're in the situation. I mean, we wouldn't have been there if he hadn't done what he done. And I got denied that too.
Yeah.
Oh no, I just got totally railroaded.
Well, what I don't seem to understand is that did you try?
You know,
did you try to get an attorney when you're fighting them in
divorce?
In divorce? Did you try there?
I hired an attorney, but he withdrew the day of trial, so he didn't do anything at the end. My husband never submitted a financial affidavit, and they were shipping him off to prison. So the judge wanted the case over with right then and there, no continuance. And the only thing I got was my car, which he took all the vehicles, all the other vehicles, and the home, and he kept all the money, and he took everything, left me with all this debt and stuff, and I couldn't make the payments on the car. So now his attorney's trying to take me back for contempt of court for not being able to make payments on the car or get the car out of his name or whatever. And, you know, it's like, take my taxes, and he doesn't want to. He just wants to put me in jail. I don't think that's okay, you know, because, you know, I'm suffering financially. So, I mean, just take the car if that's what you want. But he didn't want that. He didn't want my tax returns to pay the $5,000 left on it. I mean, I'm done with it. Because there's no matter what I do, if I were to pay on that car and pay it off, it doesn't matter. He's still trying. All he's trying to do is put me in jail to get me back for, you know, calling the police and
retaliation. Retaliation.
Yeah.
Well, what is Mr. Davis? See, what's happened is that you got a lot of legal battles. You got your criminal charges, whether they're against you or not, that you need to settle. You got your CPS charges. And now you got a child that you sent me pictures that looked horrible with the cuts and bruises. Now you say his neck is so, things like that. All you can do is document. When you call 911. Now, the thing is, people forget. They want to call the police first or CPS first. You call 911. What that does, it gives the public record. The problem is there are bad police out there. There are bad CPS out there. And that's why you need to call. People don't understand the importance of 911. 911 is a... I'm sorry, what?
911, my husband has connections to 911. My husband's a big farmer in a small town. It did not go well for me before, but I did call again. So, you know, and they've helped my husband get away with quite a bit. You know, and it's mind-blowing to the community what has happened to me. Really.
Well, then what you need to do is you need to call the governor of your state and tell them about the illegal things that are taking place with 911. It's bad. You have a lot of battles. You have a lot of battles to fight. But I tell people, no matter how bad 911 is, to call 911 because they'll have a public record of the conversation. And then they're the ones that'll contact the police or CPS or poison control or whatever. They're the ones that do that. And if that child...
I seriously doubt they're going to do anything about this abuse of my child.
Well, I can guarantee if you send the pictures...
If you listen to that audio, you'll listen to the mandated reporters in the background and how they're behaving. They're trying to stop me from documenting it.
Well, that's because you're probably in a... Okay, state of New York, you know, is very corrupt.
Mm-hmm.
There are corruptness everywhere. There are corruptness everywhere.
This is probably the worst I've ever seen.
And I'm trying to tell you, you're not the only one. Because I have a girl, a mother in North Carolina going through something similar to what you're going through. There are a lot of people, and I know it's really hard. And I'm so glad you reached out to Mr. Davis. But are you serious enough that you want to hire him?
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I don't have a choice. I'm not going to get anywhere else any other way.
Right. Now, what is he outlined for you? What does he say? Will he help you with your criminal matters, or are you going to help you with your CPS matter?
That's what I'm going to talk to him about the next time I talk to him. But so I'm hoping to talk to him within the next couple of weeks.
Well, you need to keep on it. You know, Mr. Davis is very, very busy.
He might be a little frustrated to come into a bunch of appeals for that file, but without final judgment. But I mean, something's got to slow this down before he can get into here and take care of it, because they're doing the whole lock you up to shut you up thing. You know?
Mm-hmm.
Because they know they violated rights and due process, and they've done a lot of really bad things.
Have you gone to the news media? Have you gone to the newspapers or the TV or radios with your cases?
I am going to start doing that. I've been a little hesitant because I do have a shady criminal past. Well, I mean, I've been out of trouble and Australia for about 15 years, but I still have a past, you know?
Well, that past maybe is hurting you. Have you tried to expunge that past? Have you tried to get that off your records?
Yeah, well, you can't really expunge certain things, so.
Well,
it's not that bad.
Well, you can expunge anything over 7 years unless it involves sex trafficking with children or sexual things.
You can't expunge battery. You can't expunge violent crime.
Oh, okay. I don't know the state of Illinois. I know in California it seems.
Yeah, and it does vary from state to state too. You're right about that.
Yeah, I know California is a lot different than Illinois. So, but have you had any visits with your young child that you showed me pictures of?
Well, yeah, I'm supposed to. They keep messing with them and not letting them happen, but that visitation transpired yesterday, but it was cut short because I was recording and documenting what he was saying to me. It's not like they're going to write it down, and for the state to come at me and say you should have physically assaulted your husband because you have a duty and a right to do whatever it takes to protect your child. Well, I'm doing just that. So you don't like the recording and you say it's the one party and all that stuff. I don't care. I'm doing what I have to do to protect my child because they're not recording it. They're not documenting it. And he's crying out for help from me. And I see him constantly come in and explain what happens to him. And I'm not okay with it. Nobody's listening. So, and nobody believes me. And now, yesterday I let them know, hey, I told you I was recording. I'm in a room alone with my kiddo. I'm not going to have this discussion with you every day. I mean, don't come in the room. You come in the room, that's on you, I have the right to record my child, and I have the right to protect my child, and that's my constitutional right. I don't care what the rules of your establishment is. I don't sign your paper, and that's that. Your rules on your establishment, just like some of the DCFS, training rules, are unconstitutional, and that's the bottom line. So they're not even legally upholding. So, and for DCFS to tell me we need you to sign a paper saying that you're not going to record. Well, if you had legal grounds for me not to record, why do you need that paper?
Yeah.
So they're kind of telling on themselves. They keep telling me I can't record because they know I'm documenting this stuff. And that they're trying to lie and manipulate and twist things around, and which is what they do. But yeah. So yeah.
So what then is that? You don't have any attorneys except possibly Mr. Davis, and you have a CPS case. What criminal case do you have? The charges against you?
It's a child endangerment. They felt that calling the police and giving them the footage and reporting it wasn't enough. I think I should have physically got into an altercation with my husband, which is just crazy to me because he's huge. It's not.
And then where are you at on that case? Well, they
just tried to rush straight through a trial, which I know that I'm hiring Mr. Davis. Hi, can I get a 617 full flavor? Short? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Have a good one. You too. I had to get cigarettes.
Okay.
I unfortunately smoke. Thank God.
Yeah, that's not.
You know how Mr. Davis was always stressing, don't let them know what you're doing? Because it's funny how these cases turn out when they know you're going to sue them. And, you know, the first thing you're going to hear is that they'll rush your criminal case. You want your criminal case to end and you want your kids back before you even sue. Well, they know I'm suing. So now they're rushing the criminal case and they're going to try to terminate it. Right? But I'm holding everything up with the appeal.
Well, wait a minute. If there's a criminal matter, they can't really proceed. You know, that's something that I found out that when I had my case, and maybe it's different in California than Illinois, they did nothing for a whole year into my criminal matter. My wife and I were criminally charged. There were false charges, but the DA wanted to charge something, and so they charged neglect to our children 3 counts because we had 3 children that were still living at home. And then they made up a thing called sexual charges, and there's no validity to it. It's a trading card. I found out later that they want you to settle for the lesser charge if they give up something. And so they didn't do anything in my CPS case. They kept dragging it on until I got the criminal matter taken care of. And that's when I got Mr. Davis. You see, I didn't have an attorney on my CPS.
Yeah, he was dragging this case on for about 2 years. It's criminal misdemeanor. I haven't had a court date since August of 23. But now, as of this last court date since I filed these appeals, he stood up without any prior notice of that court hearing being heard that day. So there's a violation of due process again right there. He just stands up and he says, we're setting this criminal misdemeanor for trial. Well, that wasn't on the docket for today, and I sure didn't get any notice, but, oh, well, thank you. So yeah. I've done a motion to dismiss because they don't meet the criteria of what the charge is. And when he denies that motion to dismiss, I'll file the appeal on that as well. So, yeah.
Well, you definitely have to get Mr. Davis aboard if you want to get anywhere. But you got to do something with the criminal charge, and I'm afraid you're going to have to hire a criminal attorney. Is there any suggestions from Mr. Davis?
To do criminal misdemeanor case?
Yeah.
Mr. Davis?
Yeah.
No, I really need to talk to him again. So.
Well, I'm trying to tell you, you need to get that criminal case over with. You need to get that done because whatever the outcome of that case will determine your CPS case.
I know it. Yeah.
Because I think that's what's hanging on your head.
Well, I mean, honestly, Mr. Davis is not a chief attorney, but he's the best, but he's not chief. So
I understand that. No attorney is cheap. I had to mortgage my home. Yeah.
Yeah. So you understand what I'm saying? I've spent $40,000 and it ran me straight into the ground. I got nowhere with it. And I'm not going to spend any money on any other attorneys other than Mr. Davis. So that's the way I'm going with it.
Okay, but meanwhile, you have a child that has a neck problem. You're going to have to call 911 again. I mean, you know, if they're not doing anything, you need to tell them that your son is in danger because he's complaining about something wrong with his neck. Unless they've taken him to a doctor, have the people that are taking care of your son, have they taken him to a doctor?
No.
Well, you need to tell them that you will take him to his own pediatrician. Do you still have your medical rights?
No, they won't let me. I don't get any documents on their medical records.
Well, wait a minute. Have they terminated your medical rights?
No.
Well, if they haven't terminated your medical rights, you still have the right to take your child to a pediatrician.
Oh, I can take them anywhere unsupervised.
Well, it has nothing.
They've done a lot of shenanigans.
Yeah.
You know, they're supposed to be giving me the medical records. I can't just go take them anywhere.
Well, you don't need the medical records. You need to take him to your pediatrician so they can check his neck out and do x-rays.
I haven't been able to. I can't be unsupervised with them. I get 1 hour a month.
No, it doesn't mean you have the right. If your education, I'm trying to tell you what your rights are. If you still have your medical rights and your education rights to your child, all you do is you call CPS. That child needs to be taken to my pediatrician, and they'll send a social worker as a monitor with you and your child to your pediatrician. And it'll be theirs. Well, they have to. You have to. You have to tell them you have medical rights to your child, and your child's in danger. You need to be checked out by his pediatrician.
Bob, what I'm telling you is I still have my rights, and they won't give me any of it.
You just have to keep asking for. Well, you need to go to the supervisor. Is there a supervisor in CPS you can talk to?
Yes, I've gone to them.
And if they're no good, have you talked to the director of CPS there?
Yep, I've even gone to the advocacy.
All right. Have you gone to the state?
The appellate court?
No, not to a court, to the state in charge of the CPS. That would be the ombudsperson or the director of civil rights.
Oh, Department of Justice? Yeah.
No, it's not the Department of Justice. It's called the Director of Civil Rights. In the state of Illinois, you have someone in charge of CPS. It's called the Civil Rights Director or the ombudsperson.
Yeah.
You need to try that. I'm trying to offer you suggestions. I'm not trying to tell you it's going to work or not work. All I can do is offer suggestions from my past experience and from what people have tried and done. I just know that going up to higher ups or even going to the president of the United States, you could go all the way to the top if you have to.
Yeah.
You could write a letter to your congressman or your congresswoman, or you can write a letter to the president of the United States or the vice president of the United States. And you can very professionally state that you have a child that is in foster care. You still have your medical rights, and you're worried about the safety and well-being of your child who has suspected neck injury, and that the CPS organization denying your rights, and tell them you spoke to the boss in CPS, the director in CPS, the civil rights coordinator at the state of Illinois. You need to mention you did all those things, because then the president has people that reads that letter and they'll see if it's important to go to other people. You also can appeal to, I hate to say it, but to Robert Kennedy, who's in charge of the health and welfare system. Robert Kennedy is in charge of CPS.
And yeah, probably in California.
No, not in California, in the United States.
But our director, have you been watching the news? Our director and whatever and all that is in big trouble for like like leaving children in institutions where they were being molested.
A lot of people are in trouble. All you have to do,
for FDA drug experiments and stuff like that. Our Illinois is ugly. You got to watch the news. There's no point in talking to them people, I promise.
Well, my problem is I'm having a problem with the news because I don't know if there's fake news or real news.
No, it's real. They've had a class action lawsuit filed, and if you Google Illinois DCFS class action lawsuit, it's going to come up where they sued for all the juveniles they kept in juvenile detention that were being molested and abused, and they didn't have a reason to keep them there other than they reached the age of 18. They should have released them, but they didn't. And then they got where they had them in this compound, and they were pumping them full of FDA trial drugs, and they were burying all these babies and stuff. They had tubes in their stomach and shit. It was awful. Illinois is fucking awful.
Yeah, please refrain from using inappropriate language here because I have a show that has advertisements, and that kind of language is not appropriate for the show.
I'm sorry.
That's okay. Yeah, well, that's something that we have to be professional about. I do want to welcome to Lorea Glant. I don't know who she is. She's a new person. She says, I've called 911 twice for my son because they won't get him medical attention. This is in Sacramento. So she's from Sacramento, California. Welcome, Lorea Gant. I'm glad you're listening. My son was in the hospital for days, both times. I guess he's had 2 cases. My son is only 2.5 months old, and they are killing my baby. I'm so sorry that. Now, this is in Sacramento, California. I don't think I've heard from anybody in Sacramento before. They keep trying to keep me out of my boy's medical records. They're hiding something more than the stuff I've already found, or they're hiding. And then ombudsperson. Yes, Lorea Gant, you could go to the state of California, go to the civil rights coordinator. If Sacramento is that corrupt and the CPS director won't help you, then you can go to the state level at Sacramento and speak to the ombudsperson or speak to the civil rights coordinator. And they will help you there, Lorea Gant. And if you have your medical and education, you can still hound CPS because unless they take that away, they cannot hide medical records from you. They cannot. Well, they do, but they cannot legally do it. And if you have an attorney, you get to have your attorney help you. Now, Margaret King, who's been a long time on my show, is from St. Louis, Missouri, and she has hired Mr. Davis. And he is working on her behalf. And so she's giving me an update. She said, I called all law enforcement to the foster home. I did it, a welfare and safety check when I seen my grandchild beat up until I was able to get a consultation from my attorney. So she had her grandchildren beat up in foster care. Lorea Gant, a 388 petition is a motion to have the judge open up a case within 30 days. A 388 motion is when you have new information. So if you want the judge to hear your case, you file a 388 motion. It's a petition to the court that you have new information about the case and you want to speak before the judge. And usually your attorney would do that. Usually your attorney will file a 388 petition, and that's in California. Now, Margaret.
Hey, Margaret. I live 15 minutes from Margaret King. I live right by St. Louis in Old Valmeyer, Waterloo area. Oh. I was just wondering, she's got Mr. Davis coming out for her case.
That's what she tells me. Yes.
Well, That would be convenient because I'm right around the corner for him to work my case at the same time.
Well, your case is in Illinois. It's not in Missouri.
Yeah, I know. I'm only 15 minutes from the St. Louis.
Yeah, but is St. Louis that close to Illinois?
Yeah, you just go right over a bridge.
Oh, I didn't know that. I have no idea. I don't live there, so I don't know that. Let me answer Lorette Glant. Yes, I'm doing medical welfare checks and caused chaos, and they took my visits for a week. Well, they shouldn't do that. Hi, Hillary Etchman. Welcome to the live stream. Margaret King, how much was Davis to come out to St. Louis? I live 15 minutes away. Well, you need to talk to Margaret King about that. You need to talk to Margaret King about that. And Laura Gant from Sacramento, California. Oh, by the way, I guess Kimberly's in St. Louis, Missouri. That would be new information. Right, it is, Laura Gant. It is new information. My attorney said it's not the right time for a 388. Well, if you have new information, then you can do a 388. And again, if your attorney is a professional juvenile law, family law, dependency law attorney, then you need to go by his information. I have just realized I've gone over the show time, and so my show ends at 9 a.m. And I want to thank, oh boy, we had my girl from Illinois just hang up and get a chance to say thank you to Kimberly. Thank you, Kimberly, for calling in. Thank you very, very, very much. And I hope you do call in. But I think it's important when we all sign off, we say goodbye. So I didn't get to say goodbye to you, Kimberly, but thank you. I'm not going to end the show without telling goodbye to everybody. So thank you, Kimberly, for calling in. And thank you, Laura Gant from Sacramento, for calling in. And good. I'm glad, Kimberly, that you heard me say goodbye. There's two Kimberlys. I have a Kimberly from St. Louis. I have two Kimberlys. I get confused now. I had a Kimberly on the phone from Illinois who's interested in hiring Mr. Davis. And thank you, Margaret, for calling in. But I do have to end the show. And keep fighting for your case, Margaret. Keep fighting for your case. And all of you, don't give up. Keep fighting for your case. Loretta and Margaret and two Kimberlys, keep fighting for your case. Do not give up. You eventually get your children back. You will. So God bless you all. Thank you very much for calling in. And as I say, always keep fighting for your kids. God bless you. And I'll see you tonight at 7 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. This is Bob Pace signing.